Back again with the SAR Arms SARSASP shotgun. I'm going to do a quick takedown and reassembly. To start off, all you do is turn the magazine cap counterclockwise. Slide the fore end off and the barrel. Next, you're just going to slide this O-ring off. Now, this is a reversible gas piston. Light and standard loads here. Then also you have heavy and magnum loads. And now, I have heard that some people, this is coming set on heavy, and it won't cycle very well if it's on that setting unless you're using heavy or magnum loads. So keep that in mind. This is light and standard loads, so this is going to be more for your practice rounds that are 1200 FPS, or I mean, you want them higher, 13 FPS I think at the minimum. That way they're cycling properly. That's probably the biggest component of this firearm, is that it doesn't cycle very well with anything under 1300 FPS. So that's important. Next, we are going to take out the firing pin or the bolt, and to remove the bolt handle you just want to slide this forward so it matches up, and it pulls right off. And just be really careful because it's under spring tension. So you release it, set it to the side. Now you have your receiver, you have your magazine tube. Magazine tube, if you take a flathead screwdriver and you place in here and just twist, it'll pop right out. I'm not going to pull that apart. The next piece I'm not going to pull apart is a trigger assembly. Now to punch these out, if you just use something to keep it up here and then punch them out with anything about this size, it can be really whatever you have, and then you just punch it out with the hammer. Both here, there's one here. Now after these retaining pins are out, you just pull the trigger assembly. And to remember, one thing to remember is when you're putting it back in, it does have to be cocked back, so just use your thumb, cock it back, and it'll slide back into place, and then you can put your retaining pins back in. This is pretty much your basic breakdown. There's not a whole lot you have to break down on it. And once you have it all taken apart here, you can start cleaning all your parts. Clean inside your receiver, clean all the metal components, anything that gets all gunked up with the carbon powder, and you pull apart your bolt and firing pin, clean all up in there. I use baby wipes. You want to use your oil, your cleaner of course, and Q-tips, toothbrushes. As you can see here, I use a toothbrush. I do use Q-tips. Cut up t-shirts, use that as well. You also can use your dry patches and swabs to clean some of these pieces to make sure they're clean. The same thing with your barrel. I do recommend cleaning your barrel with the bore snake. And this bore snake does wonders. It has bristle brushes here, also up here. It has like a real soft cloth, so it gets a lot of the extra grime out of there. And then has a wider end. And when you're cleaning your barrel, you just want to make sure that after you drop this pin down the barrel, which helps with the weight, that you're pulling the bore snake the way that the rounds come out. So you want to make sure that you're pulling from this end out the barrel. That leads me to the barrel itself. You do want to make sure you take this choke off and clean it as well. Has some pretty hefty threads on there. You want to make sure you use a toothbrush or a bristle brush to clean all the gunk out of there. And that's another thing, while firing, this thing loosens up, so make sure this is nice and snug. Now the action bar just pops right, you just fold it upwards to take it off like that and then put it back in, same thing. This actually matches up with the reversible gas piston. It says loads and it has kind of the end of an arrow and it'll match up. So the arrow points out the barrel, so whatever side you want, the heavy load or light load, you just point it there. Put this back on. On the action bar, there's this little groove where your bolt will sit. There's going to be a little slot that you can sit it here. Get this bore snake out of the way. Here's another thing I use to clean. Just cut up a t-shirt, put 2 holes in it, and then tied some string on it. And you can pull it through to get it nice and clean after you use your bore snake. And you can use also your swabs. Alright. So after you're all good and oiled up and cleaned, and just again all metal components cleaned and oiled. If you're going to be stored for a while, make sure you got oil, a little bit extra oil if it's going to be stored and you're not going to be using it. And then same with the barrel. Your barrel does need a light coating as well. After you're finished with everything, also make sure to wipe everything down. You get any oils and even your oils from your fingers, you want to wipe all the metal down. Your buttstock on there. Just wipe everything down, get it nice and clean. So let's put this thing back together. Start off with your action bar and action sleeve with your bolt. Now under spring tension again, there's a retaining pin that you have to depress with your finger in here. You can't really see because it's on the inside, but you just press this retaining pin and the bolt will slide in. So now once it's inside the receiver, you have your bolt handle here. You just match up the hole with the groove on the bolt handle. And it'll slide right in. Now after that, I actually want to pull back the action bar and your bolt and lock it back into the back position. We're actually missing a piece here first. First, let's put our gas piston back on. Make sure again that it's on light load unless you're using heavy or magnum shot. Place your O-ring back on. Now the barrel, slide the barrel back on. Now one thing to remember, it does need to slide all the way back to where it mates. Back here there's a little slot. And once it's there, it's in its locked position. It's not going nowhere. You just slide your forend back on. Now when you slide your forend back on, there's a little groove which the forend has some a little piece in here that locks it in. So it'll pop on. Now counterclockwise. Just put the magazine cap back on. Nice and snug. Make sure everything's nice and tight. You got your action release. And it's good to go. Now the thing I like about this, for safety reasons, you do have a safety here. Red, danger. Move my fingers, you can see. It's now on safety. And that's it. Real quick, real easy. Nothing too difficult about it other than probably the bolt release and matching up the bolt handle. That's probably gave me a run for my money when I was first learning. Just seeing how to take out the bolt handle. That's it. Just wipe everything down. Make sure it's nice and oiled and clean. I do recommend every time you shoot to make sure this is nice and clean, especially if it's going to be your home defense shotgun. You don't want it to mess up on you under that type of situation. So again, let's talk about the gas piston. You do want to make sure that it's on the light load. If you're going to be running anything like these gun club target loads, and they're 1200 FPS. So that's important. These didn't cycle very well at the beginning until I started running a lot of rounds through it and made sure the gun's nice and clean. But that's it. Any question, guys, just let me know. Thanks for watching.